Hi everyone, welcome to the class. We have completed with all the NCERT syllabus with respect to the unit biomolecules. In this present class, we'll try to discuss the previous year questions and model paper questions with respect to 1 mark questions from the unit biomolecules. So we'll start with the class. So if we observe the weightage, so as already we discussed, the unit is having 6 marks weightage with one 1 mark question and one 5 mark question for the final exam. So we'll start with 1 mark question discussion. So the question from the model question paper 1, name a nitrogenous base present both in DNA and in RNA. So we need to name a nitrogenous base, so present both in DNA and in RNA. We know that so nitrogenous bases are of purines and pyrimidines. Purines are common for both DNA and RNA. Hence, you can consider adenine and guanine. So anyone can be considered. So will be common for both DNA and RNA. Then, if we take in the pyrimidine bases, cytosine again is a common base for both DNA and RNA. Hence, 2 purines, that is adenine and guanine, and 1 pyrimidine base, that is cytosine. So it is adenine, guanine, or cytosine. So any one can be taken as example here. Now from the answer, it is adenine or guanine or cytosine. So both adenine and guanine are purine bases. So purines are common for both DNA and in RNA. And cytosine, so which is a pyrimidine base. And in the pyrimidine base, cytosine is common for both DNA and in RNA. So whereas thiamine is seen only in DNA, uracil is seen only in RNA. So which belongs to pyrimidine bases. Now we'll move to the next question. Name a vitamin that is stored in liver and adipose tissue. So it is the vitamin, so that is stored in the liver and adipose tissue. So we know that so vitamins are classified into 2 types. So they are water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. So water soluble vitamins are vitamin B complex and vitamin C. So fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K. And if we take here, so it is the liver and adipose tissue. So liver and adipose tissue will deposit fats. Hence, the fat soluble vitamins are going to be stored in liver and adipose tissue. So liver and adipose tissue so will have the fat soluble vitamins. That means fat soluble vitamins are going to be stored here. Now to see the answer, so you can observe vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, or vitamin K. So any one of the fat soluble vitamin so can be taken as the answer. So it is mentioned all the 4 here. So for value point for the answer, so any one is sufficient. And so any fat soluble vitamin so can be taken as the right answer. The next question. So from the 3rd model question paper, glucose on oxidation with bromine gives gluconic acid. What does this reaction indicates about the structure? So we have seen with respect to structural elucidation of glucose. So to show there is 6 carbon atoms present in a side chain. So the reaction is treating with hydrogen iodide to get N-hexane. And to show that the glucose is having aldehyde or ketone, that is carbonyl group as a functional group. So we have seen the reaction with hydroxylamine or with hydrogen cyanide. Obtaining the oxime or cyanohydrin explains so carbonyl group is present. So glucose on oxidation with bromine or mild oxidation, so to produce the gluconic acid, so it conforms the aldehyde as the carbonyl group in glucose. Similarly, we have seen to show the 5-hydroxyl group in a glucose. So it is a reaction with acetic anhydride we have seen. And to show there is a presence of a primary alcoholic group, so we have seen the strong oxidation condition to obtain saccharic acid. All those 5 evidences you can recall. So this is the evidence. So to obtain gluconic acid indicates that so it is a mild oxidation condition. So aldehyde is the functional group present in glucose. So this is the conclusion about the structure. If we see the answer, so it indicates the presence of carbonyl group as an aldehyde group. Aldehyde is a functional group present in the glucose is confirmed with this reactivity. Now we'll observe the next question. So from the 4th model paper, give an example for alpha amino acid which is basic. So we learned the classification of amino acids, so which are building the proteins. There are 20 such alpha amino acids. In the 20, so we have seen 2 acidic amino acid and 3 basic amino acid. So the 3 basic amino acids are, it is lysine, arginine and histidine. Lysine, arginine and histidine are the 3 basic amino acids. Any one can be considered as the answer. Let me see the answer. So anyone that is lysine, arginine or histidine, so can be taken as the answer for the related question. Similarly, if acidic, if it is asked among the 20, so 2 are acidic amino acids, so they are aspartic acid and glutamic acid. So 2 acidic or aspartic acid and glutamic acid. So I'm just discussing, so what are all the related information along with the answer for the required question. So what I'm going to discuss additionally will help you to remember for 1 mark point of view topics. Now the correct answer is from the 3 basic, anyone can be written. So similarly, among the known 20 amino acids, so 3 are basic, so remaining are, it is acidic amino acids. And acidic amino acids are aspartic acid and glutamic acid. We'll move with the next question. The question from the 5th model paper. It is, define the term nucleotide. So we have seen nucleotides are the repeating monomers of nucleic acid either in DNA or in RNA. So nucleotides build the respective biomolecule. Such nucleotide is formed by the combination of a pentose sugar, either a ribose sugar from RNA or deoxyribose sugar in DNA, with a nitrogenous base, so that has purine or pyrimidine bases, with a phosphate from phosphoric acid. So these 3 components will form a nucleotide. Now we'll see the answer. So when a nucleoside is linked to phosphoric acid at 5' position of sugar moiety, a nucleotide is formed. So, or you can say that, so a pentose sugar, so which when combines with a nitrogenous base and phosphate, it forms a nucleotide. So the interaction is, so the pentose sugar and the nitrogenous base to consider. So the 1' hydroxyl of pentose sugar, so will interact with the nitrogenous base, and so 5' hydroxyl group of the pentose sugar, so will interact with phosphoric acid, so as phosphate to form the respective linkage. So such a unit which is formed by the interaction of pentose sugar, a nitrogenous base and a phosphate is called as nucleotide. So here whatever the answer is given, So it is when a nucleoside. Now we know that nucleoside is so the part which is formed so by the interaction of nitrogenous base with pentose sugar. This pentose sugar nitrogenous base is considered as nucleoside. Such a nucleoside, so at the fifth prime of the hydroxyl group of the sugar moiety, if it interacts with phosphoric acid or phosphate, so it is going to form a nucleotide. Hope these fundamental concepts are clear. So try to recall all the concepts. So pentose sugar, so if it is in RNA, it is a ribose sugar. If it is in DNA, it will be deoxyribose sugar. Nitrogenous bases of purines or pyrimidine bases. So it is ATGC in the case of DNA, AUGC in the case of RNA. So with a phosphate, it is going to form a nucleotide. Now we'll consider the sixth question from the model question paper from the PO board. Name the vitamin responsible for coagulation of blood. So we learned water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. So with their simple sources, we learned what are the deficiency diseases caused by such vitamins. Now coagulation of blood or blood clotting to takes place. So we have seen one of the fat soluble vitamin. So it is vitamin K. So which is known as anti-hemorrhagic factor. So without vitamin K, so the blood clot will not take place. Delayed or so blood clot will not take place. Hence vitamin K is called as the clotting factor. So and the coagulation of blood, so to occur, the vitamin responsible is it is vitamin K. So that we'll find as an answer now. So it is vitamin K. Next question from the seventh model paper, PU model paper. It's about the structural levels in proteins. Mention the bonding that helps in stabilizing the alpha helix structure of protein, so which refers to secondary structure. You can recall, so the structural level of protein is studied under primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary, and quaternary structure. In the primary structure, the sequence of amino acid as a polypeptide chain we are going to see. When it forms either a alpha helix or a beta plated sheet in its secondary structure, that structural stability is due to formation of hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds will give the stability in the secondary structure, so which with additional folding in the tertiary level, so with the formation of either weak van der Waals forces along with hydrogen bonds, then so additional electrostatic force of interactions, all such additional forces will stabilize the tertiary structure. Then such tertiary structured form polypeptide chain is referred to as a subunit. All such subunits functionally assembles to give the quaternary structure. So that we studied in the four structural levels. Now with respect to alpha helix, so which is a secondary structure, the hydrogen bond gives the stability for the structure. The answer is hydrogen bonding. Now we'll observe the question from the 8th PU model paper. Mention a function of hormone insulin. As we learned in the protein hormones, the insulin, so which is a 51 amino acid containing with the 2 polypeptide chain, so 31 and 20 amino acids. So its role, so which is produced from the beta cells of pancreas. The insulin which produced from beta cells of pancreas. So the role is that, so once the blood glucose level increases, so the insulin will be produced and it is going to reduce the blood sugar level. So hence, so we can consider the importance as, so it maintains blood glucose level. So if the blood sugar level increases, then the beta cells of pancreas will produces insulin. So which is going to make the glucose to enter into the cells and to undergo catabolic pathway as glycolytic pathway, followed by the continuation of Krebs cycle and electron transport chain to produce ATPs for us. So hence insulin maintains blood sugar level or blood glucose level. Hence the answer is, so it controls the metabolism of glucose in blood. Any related answer can be considered. So it maintains blood sugar level, it maintains blood glucose level, or it controls the metabolism of glucose in the blood. Anything can be taken as the value point for the answer. Now we'll move to the next question. Question from the 9th model paper. What is a glycosidic linkage? Now, with respect to the major biomolecule what we have discussed, it is carbohydrates, proteins, and nucleic acids. You can recall the linkages in the respective biomolecules. In the carbohydrates, whether to form a disaccharide or polysaccharide, the two monosaccharides are between the monosaccharides, the interaction or the linkage is called as glycosidic linkage. So glycosidic linkage is the interaction between two hydroxyl groups of interacting monosaccharides. So with their two hydroxyl group interacting, a simple water molecule is eliminated to give a glycosidic bond. Similarly, if we take in the proteins, the amino acids are interacted with the help of amide linkage or peptide linkage or peptide bond. Whereas in the case of nucleic acids, the nucleotide monomers are joined with the help of phosphodiester linkages. Hence, so all are important to relate. So as the question is asked for carbohydrate, so we'll recall for all. So in the carbohydrates, the monomers are linked with the help of glycosidic linkage. Whereas in the case of proteins, the monomers will be amino acid and they are linked by peptide bonds or amide linkages. Whereas if we take the nucleic acids, where nucleotides or the monomers, such nucleotides are joined by phosphodiester linkages. As a linkage is mentioned, so I am giving the main linkages with respect to the unit. So glycosidic linkage, so which links the monosaccharides of the polysaccharides or disaccharides. So glycosidic linkage in carbohydrates, peptide linkage in proteins, and phosphodiester linkages in nucleotides of nucleic acids. Now our question is related to the first one. So glycosidic linkage is the bond or the interaction formed between the two interacting monosaccharides hydroxyl group, or the bond linking two monosaccharides in carbohydrate in simple is known as glycosidic linkage. Now we'll see the answer for it. Now if you observe, the two monosaccharides are joined together by an oxide linkage formed by the loss of a water molecule. Such a linkage between two monosaccharide units through oxygen atom is called as glycosidic linkage. So it is in detail, so it is mentioned. So you just recall that information. So by knowing these points, you just extend to it to remember as glycosidic linkage. Now we'll observe the next one. Write the Zwitter ion form of alanine. Now we learned, so Zwitter ion is a neutral ion. So with respect to any simple amino acid, left side we are writing NH2 group. Instead of NH2, a base by accepting one H plus NH3 plus and an acidic group COOH by losing its H plus COO minus, having this both negative charge and positive charge on the basic group and acidic group in the amino acid is known as Zwitter ionic structure. Now, as it is alanine, the differentiating group in the alanine is CH. So glycine is having hydrogen as the R group. Alanine will have CH3 as the R group. So that specifically they have asked alanine. So you need to write the R structure as CH3. And to indicate Zwitter ion, so everyone knows that so NH3 plus if it is there, so it will be for the basic group how it is changed, and for the acidic group it is COO minus. Now we'll try to observe that in the answer. I can notice here. So this is the NCRT structure. Now hydrogen, so they have written along with the carbon as CH. So if you write CH like this, all the 4 bonds you can easily remember about that. And a carboxylic group COO minus, they have splitted into a carbonyl group, and O minus, that is actually it is OH. From the OH, H is donated to become O minus. That to show they have shown like this. And NH3, it is NH2 by accepting a H plus, so is having NH3 plus. Then to call that as alanine, so here it is the differentiating portion from the different amino acids. So for alanine, it is CH3. So you practice a general structure. If general structure is asked, you write R. If the example is not specified, then you write R here. So if it is asked with glycine, you write that as H. If it is alanine, so it is with the given structure CH3. So with this, the 10 PU model question papers are completed. Now we'll move with the previous year questions. So starting from the changed syllabus, so it is the March 2014. What is the nitrogenous base present only in RNA but not in DNA? So the nitrogenous base, so which is seen only in RNA, we need to write. So we need to know that, so the differentiations clearly. The nitrogenous base which is present only in RNA is uracil. If it is with DNA, if it is as, it is thiamine. So this is the differentiating base from DNA and RNA. Don't confused here, so try to remember it clearly. Now the answer is uracil. Now we'll move with the next question from supplementary of 2014 year examination. Name the protein present in hair. So we learned the two classification of proteins, that is fibrous protein and globular protein. Hope you remember that. So fibrous protein and globular protein. So for fibrous protein, we have taken the example of keratin, and we have considered myosin. And for globular protein, we have taken ovalbumin or egg albumin, or hemoglobin. So all those are examples. So albumin or egg albumin. So keratin is the protein which is present in hair, nails, and feathers. So if we consider that the protein responsible for the structural rigidity, that is rigidity, is keratin. So here they have asked the protein present in hair, and it is a fibrous protein, keratin. So such proteins are water insoluble, whereas globular proteins are water soluble. So these are with fiber-like structure. So these will form a coiled structure, so which is like a subunit. So that you know. So try to recall the concept along with the example. The answer for this is keratin. The next question from the March 2015 examination. So deficiency of which vitamin causes the disease pernicious anemia? Now we know that anemia is related to the blood cells without hemoglobin. That is RBC lack in hemoglobin. So is called as a condition of anemic. So that pernicious anemia is due to a vitamin that is water soluble, so which is involved in RBC synthesis. So hope you know that. So it is the only water soluble vitamin which is stored in our body, whereas remaining water soluble vitamins cannot be stored. So such water soluble vitamin is vitamin B12. So due to its synthesis in RBC, so that is stored in our body. So the lack of that is going to be leading to pernicious anemia. Hence the answer is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is the only water soluble vitamin, so which can be stored in our body also. So that also you can remember. So it is also asked for the 1 mark examination. So 1 mark in the examination. Now we'll try to observe the supplementary of 2015. Supplementary question is, write the general structure of zwitter ion. So again, it is a repeated from model paper question. So already we considered. So to write a zwitter ion, so NH2, if it is with addition of H plus NH3 plus and a carboxylic group by losing its proton COO minus and a H bonded to carbon. So it is a general structure. So this group R may be different for a different amino acid. Hence, as it is a general structure they have asked, now we'll write this as R. If it is glycine or alanine, you need to write the R as the respective group. H for glycine, CH3 for alanine. Now, the answer explains the general structure in its zwitter ionic form. Zwitter ion, to identify this is very, very important. Either you can show like this or you can write COO minus. Next question from March 2016 examination. Name a hormone which maintains a constant level of glucose in the blood. So we learned the 2 hormones. So that maintains the blood glucose level. It is insulin and glucagon. So anything can be written. So here it is insulin is mentioned. So glucagon is also the correct answer. So if the blood sugar level is very low, now to make the blood glucose to increase, so the hypoglycemic and hyperglycemic factors you can consider the glycemic index. So insulin is responsible for increased blood sugar to reduce, whereas if the blood sugar level goes down, so to make the blood sugar to come to the normal level, so glucagon will be produced from the pancreas again. Next question from the April 2016. Which hormone regulates the sugar level in the blood? So again, the same repeated question. It is both insulin and glucagon. Anything can be written, both are correct. Which vitamin deficiency causes the disease rickets? So we learned, so in one of the fat soluble vitamin, so it is vitamin D. So deformities in the bone, so seen in the children, so is considered as rickets. So which is observed in only children. Whereas if it is goes to the adults, so the vitamin D deficiency in the adults so causes osteomalacia. So this is seen in adults. So this we discussed in the regular class of vitamins. You can recall that. Now they have asked with respect to rickets. So the answer is it is vitamin D. The next question from March 2017. Deficiency of which vitamin causes scurvy? We can observe the importance of that. So all the vitamins you need to learn with their deficiencies. Try to focus on to that to remember. Now, scurvy is due to the deficiency of vitamin C, that is ascorbic acid. The answer is vitamin C. The next question from another set of model paper, so prepared for the March 2017 final exam. Give an example of steroid hormones. There are many steroid hormones. It is estradiol, progesterone, testosterone. So all these can be given as example. So I have mentioned few here. It is testosterone, estradiol, progesterone. Anything can be considered. The next question. So from another set of question paper prepared for March final exam. Which vitamin deficiency causes the disease pernicious anemia? Again, it is a repeated one. So it is, we know that vitamin B12, that is cyanocobalamin, so which is involved in RBC synthesis. Due to the deficiency of that, pernicious anemia is seen. Now we'll go for the next question. So it is from the supplementary of 2017. Give an example for fat soluble vitamins. Now we know that so there are 4 fat soluble vitamins. It is A, D, E, K. A, D, E, K or fat soluble vitamins. Anyone can be taken as the answer. Vitamin A, D, E or K. The next question from the 2018 examination. Deficiency of which vitamin causes the disease rickets? Again, it is a repeated. So vitamin D deficiency causes rickets in children. The next question from the supplementary of 2018. Name the nitrogenous base present only in DNA but not in RNA. So which is seen only in DNA is thiamine. Which is seen only in RNA is uracil. So you can remember RU, RNA with uracil as the only nitrogenous base seen. So it is DT, you can remember. So thiamine seen only in DNA. The answer is thiamine. The next question from the 2019 March examination. Which vitamin deficiency causes the disease pernicious anemia? Again, it is repeated for third time. So it is vitamin B12 cyanocobalamin. Vitamin B12 cobalamin or cyanocobalamin. So which are the alternates given as per the PU scheme of evaluation? So what I have taken as the answers. So hence try to observe the key answers explained for all the questions. So you can observe the repetition of topics. Which kind of topics are taken for 1 mark questions especially. The next question from the supplementary of 2019. Name the hormone which regulates blood sugar level. Again, it is a repeated question. It is either insulin or glucagon. So both will maintain the blood sugar level. The last question. So it is from the last examination, March 2020. Give an example of water soluble vitamin, which is a direct easy question again. So we know that it is vitamin B and vitamin C. Again, in vitamin B, so we have the complex of vitamins, that is B1, B6, B12 and vitamin B2. So these we have seen in the syllabus, vitamin B1, B2, B6 and B12. So addition to this, there are many vitamins of B complex, so that they have given in the scheme. But in the NCERT, they have not mentioned all. So they have mentioned only these. That if you observe. So vitamin B or vitamin C, ascorbic acid. In the vitamin B, so they have given all, so which are helpful for your competitive exams. So all the vitamin B complex, it is mentioned here, but they are not given in the NCERT. So B1 is given, B2 is given, B6 is given, and B12 is given in NCERT. Whatever I am ticking. So these vitamins they have given in NCERT syllabus. The other what they have given, B3, niacin, B5, pantothenic acid, so B7, biotin. So it is also called as vitamin H, but don't use to represent it. It is for competitive exam you may require. So vitamin B9, it is folic acid or folate. So these are additional information about the vitamin B complex. So with respect to board exam, you can concentrate only this: vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12. If you learn these 4, it is sufficient with their chemical names: thiamine, riboflavin, then pyridoxine, and cyanocobalamin. So it is a cobalt containing vitamin. So this is required for your board exam to learn. If you are interested to go with competitive preparation, so you can learn additionally the B complex vitamins with their chemical names. So with this, all the 1 mark question discussion we have seen. So in the same way, please go through with the question bank which is sent to you in the beginning of the unit itself. So what are all the 3 mark and 2 mark questions. So try to complete the revision from that question bank, so which is helpful for you to prepare for board exam, as well as it will give the weightage from the biomolecules with respect to carbohydrates, how the questions have been asked, with respect to amino acids and proteins, how the questions are asked, and with respect to nucleic acids, vitamins, and hormones, how they have framed the questions. Since for preparation of PU board exam, so these question bank revision will help a lot. So try to complete the revision as an extension for your board exam preparation. So thank you. So we'll stop for today's class.